Good evening, everyone. My name is Rachel Imbrogno. Welcome to the HEB Mionetto Prosecco Happy Hour. I'll be your host for this evening, and I have not one but two very special guests and very special friends of mine joining me tonight to talk about Mionetto. The first person is Enore Ceola. He is the CEO and Managing Director of Freixenet Mionetto USA. Welcome, Enore. The second person is Jimmy Bruton. He is the Director of Mionetto Prosecco for the United States. Hi, Jimmy.
Good evening.
So, hi, Enore. Thank you so much for joining us. Tell me, please introduce yourselves. Let's start with Enore first.
Yeah. Well, I've been with Mionetto now for 22 years. I'm going to 23 in September. So very exciting time here from the beginning when nobody knew about Prosecco, and now Prosecco is one of the most popular sparkling wine in the United States. And we're very excited to be one of the best favorite brands selling right now in the United States. So really happy to have this opportunity to talk about my favorite wine, Mionetto Prosecco.
Definitely. We're very lucky to have that tonight, and not just one, but several different kinds. So Jimmy, welcome. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Good evening, everybody. So my name's Jimmy. I haven't been with Mionetto for quite as long as Enore. But I joined the team just about a year ago. Really happy to be on board. I've had a long love affair with Italy. I lived in Italy for 4 years. I'm married an Italian in Italy. Moved to I'm not originally from Italy. I'm English, if you can guess that. So I moved to the US 5 years ago with my Italian wife. And I've been missing Italy ever since. But luckily enough, working for Mionetto, I get the chance to talk about Italy and talk about my love of Italian products. So really excited to speak with you all tonight and share a glass with you and tell you a little bit more about Mionetto.
That's great. Thank you. Married to an Italian, work for an Italian. Great, great. So, Enore, tell me a little bit about the history of Mionetto.
So Mionetto is a long history. It's one of the oldest producers in the Val d'Obiadene, in the heart of Prosecco. The family Mionetto has been producing Prosecco for more than 135 years. They started their history. They are producing wine since 1887. Mm-hmm. Now, Mionetto is considered the first ambassador of Prosecco because, not only one family producing Prosecco, but it was one of the first family to bring Prosecco outside Italy. So first we branch out in Austria, then in Germany, then in UK, and finally in 1997 here in United States. And since then, Mionetto popularity grew exponentially because, as you all know, United States is a very important market, and it's usually a market that where everyone look at. So very, very important for us to be here, at the beginning when really people didn't know what Prosecco was, and now to be one of the best and most favorite Prosecco in United States. Long history.
Long history,
and from Val d'Obiadene, which is the heart of Prosecco, beautiful place.
Mm-hmm. Right. And in 1997, weren't you one of the first people to bring Prosecco to the United States?
When we got here, when I moved here, there were other Prosecco here, but the difference was that many other Prosecco were trying to sell it as a cheap champagne. And one of the things that we did from day one was telling people, this is not champagne. This is not want to be champagne. This is Prosecco. It's a category of its own. Doesn't have anything to do with champagne. Doesn't mean that it's better or worse. It's a very different sparkling wine. And that was the turning point because really people started to explore it. And then when you drink it, you cannot love it. Prosecco, especially Mionetto, is such a great sparkling wine. Difficult to.
It is light and easy to enjoy. Can you tell me a little bit about where the location of Mionetto is?
First Prosecco that we will taste is the Prosecco Prestige Brut. and it's brewed because it is one of the driest Prosecco. Many people have hard time opening a sparkling bottle, right? Well, the first thing is always put your finger on top. With the finger on top of the cork, you remove the cage, you keep the finger there, then you move the bottle, not the cork, until you pop it. Very easy, right? And usually Prosecco is very easy to open. And it's fun. It's fun to hear the pop.
That does look good.
So
But can you tell me a little bit about where Prosecco is exactly from?
Yes. So Prosecco can only be called, if it's produced, it can only be called Prosecco if it's produced in the northeast of Italy, in the region of Veneto and Friuli Venezia Giulia. It's a territory that goes from Venice up to Valdobbiadene and then to Udine. So very close to the Austrian border, and basically 45 minutes from Venice, you'll have Valdobbiadene. So very close in the Veneto area, Venice area. You have the sea on the south side, and then on the north side you have the Pre-Alps or the Alps, which is a very top high mountain. And because of that, you get a unique microclimate that really define and makes the grapes amazingly ripe and perfectly good for this kind of wine. So you have different Prosecco, depends on the area. The one that we are tasting right now is called Prosecco Brut Treviso, DOC Treviso, because it comes from the original area where Prosecco was born, 500 years ago. The characteristic of Prosecco, it's very light pale. So one of the little tips about Prosecco, if you want to make sure that you're drinking a very fresh Prosecco, always look at the color. If it's light, then you know it's fresh. If it's golden and dark, then you know it could be an old Prosecco. And that's not a good thing for Prosecco. Prosecco needs to be fresh. And that's what we are famous for. Mionetto is famous for having a very fresh and fruity Prosecco, because, we produce on demand. So color really needs to be straw pale yellow. And then when you close your eyes and you get it close to your mouth and your nose, you really get the apple, the green apple, and a little bit of peach, white peach.
That's true.
On your mouth, it's great. It's a perfect amount of acidity, right alcohol, not too much yeast. Again, this is not going to be a champagne, and with a very good fruit. And what that define the style of Mionetto really is the balance of acidity, fruitiness, sugar, and alcohol. So this is a great example of a Prosecco, really well balanced, great bubbles, not too big, not too small, just enough to please your palate.
Yeah, the Prestige is always a winner. And it's available in these little 187s, which are perfect when you're out and about these days, when you're at home and walking around your neighborhood. So moving on to Jimmy, can you tell me a little bit about the different quality levels of Prosecco?
Sure. So, and before we get into that, I think it's very important. So, to talk about Prosecco is the grape. So, the main grape for Prosecco is called Glera. It's been growing in northeastern Italy for hundreds of years. But it's a light-bodied, high acidity grape. It's not particularly rich in sugars, but it's got very fresh, clean aromas, and it's a superb grape basically for sparkling wine. So unlike champagne, and I don't want to get too technical here, but champagne is predominantly a Chardonnay grape. The big thing about Prosecco that makes it so different is this grape called Glera. To be called a Prosecco, it has to be 85% Glera. As Enore was talking about, this microclimate is super important. So you've got the Dolomites, or the mountains on the north side of the region, and then on the south side you've got the Adriatic, so you've got the ocean. So during the day the heat comes in from the water, from the ocean, and at night time the cool air comes back down over the vineyard. So these grapes they're quite hardy, but the flavors that you get that are typical of a Glera grape, you get beautiful green apple, orange blossom, peach, and honey. So all of these are basically what is a typical Prosecco flavor. So it's a light-bodied sparkling wine. Now, in terms of the different regions that we talked about, and you saw a map just a moment ago, these are the different denominations of Prosecco, and basically at the bottom of the pyramid is the largest area, which is basically the Prosecco DOC. So that area that we talked, that's just north of Venice, and that encompasses the whole area. So if you look at your labels, anything that says Prosecco DOC means it's definitely come, and DOC is Denominazione Originale Contrarrata. So it's a little 3-letter acronym that's kind of a guarantee of quality. So it's come from the Prosecco area, which is really important. So we are the bottles we're going to try tonight. So we've got Mionetto. The Il is at the bottom of the pyramid there, and then the Doc Treviso, which is the orange label. That's actually a Treviso, which is a smaller area within Prosecco. Maybe if we jump to the other map, you might be able to sort of see that slightly easier. That one there, yeah. So you've got the whole DOC area, and then you hone in. You've got the Treviso area, which is smaller geographically, but we actually call this the cradle of Prosecco. So there are more Prosecco producers there. You can sort of hit a golf ball to the next vineyard. This is it's wonderful, but it's fantastic growing area. And then as you get smaller and smaller, you've got the Valdobbiadene DOC, and
which we'll try as well.
Exactly, and then the final one, the Conigliano DOC. So they're sort of, you're just getting smaller and smaller areas, but all of them, the DOC basically means it's a guarantee of geographical growth for the wine.
Right, and it's all named after the towns, right? So Treviso, the bigger area, is for the Treviso Dock, for the Brut. And then the Valdobbiadene Superiore is the smaller area, which encompasses Colignano and Valdobbiadene for this one, right?
Spot on.
Okay, great. So we've talked a lot about the region, the history, the denominations. So let's jump into more tasting, because we've only really had the first one, right? So let's jump to the second one, which is the organic. This is also my favorite product. Jimmy, tell me about this one.
Yeah, so I hope so the organic, if you have a little look at that. So this is the organic. It's a real jewel in our crown. We created this about 15 years ago. So we had a specific request for an organic Prosecco. And we thought, wouldn't that be lovely? We said we could do it. We said we could do it before we even spoke to our winemaker. He kind of freaked out a little bit, but we found out that of all of the wine growers that we buy from, 3 of them were certified organic. So meaning they use no synthetic chemicals or fertilizers during their production process. So we basically source grapes from these 3 vineyards. In terms of the production process, it's the same as the Doc Treviso. So 2 fermentations, very gentle, slow second fermentation. But in terms of flavors, so the organic, I would say, and you're probably going to ask me at the end, which is my favorite. This is right up there. It's absolutely spectacular. In terms of a nose, I get a lot of ripe apple. I get elderflower. It's in terms of color, it's a little bit darker yellow than the Brut Treviso. In terms of palate, I get an explosion of green apple. I get pineapple. I get orange. I think it's a really delicious, fruit-forward Prosecco. I think this one pairs beautifully. I mean, my favorite pairing with this would be oysters. I know that's quite decadent, but I think this one deserves it. I think it goes great with things like gorgonzola, dates, figs, any cicchetti if you can get those, which are sort of wonderful Italian tapas styles if you've ever had those in Venice. It goes beautifully with prosciutto, melon, so sort of
That does sound good.
stinky cheeses or ripe fruits. I think this one pairs really, really well with that. So
And,
you know,
speaking about Venice, how far is Venice from the vineyards, from Valdobbiadene and Treviso?
so it's about Enore, am I right in saying it's about 90 miles, so or a 90-minute drive.
So if you're American, it takes an hour and a half. If you're with Enore, it takes 45 minutes.
Yeah, that's it. That's about right. No, I was going to say, last thing, very nice thing about the organic, everything about it is organic. So the bottles recycled, the labels, the shipper case, so everything's organic about it. So we're kind of very proud of that.
Can you tell me the Prestige is brut, but the organic is extra dry. What is the difference? What does that mean?
Enore.
The residual sugar on the organic, it's a little bit higher than in Prestige. Prestige is drier in style, so there's only 12 grams per liter of sugar, where the organic, it's about 16 grams per liter. Not a big difference, but necessary to balance the higher acidity on the organic. So, and that's the secret, you know, the balance. The balance in both wines is amazing. That's the signature of Mionetto.
Great. Moving to the third wine, Enore, we have the Valdobbiadene Superiore. Well, how is this one different from the others?
Well, this is, you know, this is really the good stuff. You know, this is the thing you drink on a Sunday, on a Saturday, where the Prestige is every day. A little bit more expensive. You can find this HEB, of course, and it's a very good price there. And you know, very different stylistically, but then the common threads is, of course, is the green apple, the peach. But what you taste here, you get a little bit of exotic fruit, you know. So a little bit more complexity, more minerality, because the terroir in Valdobbiadene, and especially the soil, is different. So more complexity, but yet very approachable. I love this wine. I think this one is perfect for seafood. You know, there is a very simple risotto alla pescatora, or even a nice pasta with shrimps, or even with lobster. I mean, it's amazing that with seafood, salmon.
Yeah, that does sound very good.
Yeah.
And also, for the different levels, this one is DOCG, so this is the top of the pyramid quality. This is the best of the best for the Glera grape that can be produced.
Correct. DOCG is the highest quality of the Prosecco. And the Superiore Valdobbiadene is one of our top Prosecco in the United States. You know, there is another one level up, there's Cartizze, but that's very, very rare. 100 case. If you want to go with something that's a $20, you can't go wrong with this.
And this is a new item in HEB, so we are thankful to have that addition there. It's a very special wine. That's great. Okay, Jimmy, the next one, and we're moving to the rosé. This is one of my favorites too.
And I think, I mean, I would like to say that, you know, even what we've just tried here, the Valdobbiadene Superiore, that's still only $20 a bottle. So I think the big thing that we always love to talk about with Prosecco is it's very democratic, it's very, very approachable. None of them really need a special occasion or an excuse to open up the bottle. So we always talk about that, you know, it's not really for celebration, it's just for everyday living. So we're now going to try the Mionetto Rosé. So this one is not technically a Prosecco, so a little bit different to the other four that we're drinking. So this one just, we call this a Rosé Cuvette. It's an extra dry. It's basically made with two types of grapes. So it's Raboso from the Veneto region, and Lagren, which is from Trentino, so a little bit further north up towards the mountains. But it's basically the Raboso. So these are two red grapes. In terms of the production method, we leave the during the soft pressing, we leave the skins on the grapes, and that gives this beautiful pink hue. So it's a lovely sort of peach color. I'll find a glass here.
Oh, do you have a little bottle? These come in 187s?
These do indeed come in the little
adorable.
187. So I'm opening that one. So the
Go for the big one.
yes.
Me too.
So this one, in terms of color, it's got this. It's a brilliant pink, sort of beautiful dark peach color. In terms of the nose, I get a lot of pink grapefruit. I get pomegranate. There's a lot of berries. I think it's a really fruit forward, but it's a lot of berries flavors. In terms of the actual flavor,
Right?
absolutely. So strawberries, blackberries. I mean, this is, I think it's a wonderful rosé. In terms of pairings, it goes fantastically with any seafood dish, grilled fish. It's wonderful as an aperitif. But I think basically anything seafood, it's an absolute winner for this. It's we talk of it, it's a more robust rosé than some of the rosés out there. We kind of joke that this is kind of a rosé on steroids. It's really got, it's full-bodied. It's got real flavor. But for me, it's very Moorish, meaning that when I have one, I need another one. It's
Moorish.
Yeah, it's definitely all-day rosé kind of bubbles.
Mm-hmm. And it's also a wine you can have year-round. It's not just a spring, summertime item. Don't you think you can enjoy it in the winter?
Absolutely. And in fact, I saw someone note there. So I think it goes great with desserts, but it's definitely goes great all year round. I don't think there's a misconception that rosé should only be drank in the summer. Show the rosé some love in the winter as well.
Definitely. It's drinking really well. It's balanced well too. So we can move to the next one for the last one for the Il Moscato, the blue one. This is also a fairly new item at HEB. And Enore is going to tell us about this product because it has a different name as well. Instead of just Mionetto, it's
Yes.
Moscato.
Yeah, you're right, Rachel. So this doesn't have Mionetto on the label, but we produce it. It's one of the items that we've been producing for a very long time, but doesn't have the Mionetto name on it. It doesn't because, it is in the back, but the signature of this label is really the logo, the Il, mean di Moscato, and we have a Prosecco and a Moscato in this line. And we call it the casual line because it's an entry-level line, and it's more casual for every day. And we go a little bit outside our roots, which is Moscato. But this is not Moscato d'Asti. It's Moscato from the Veneto region. So it's not the traditional, very sweet, cloying, sweet Moscato that you may experience from Asti. This is a lot more different, a lot less drier than that, and in my opinion, a lot easier to drink, to the point that you can actually easily drink this with food. I have a lot of people that actually love this with Thai food or spicy food. It's really, really working very well with that kind of food. So in the Veneto, we grow Moscato, not that much, because the majority of the grapes is Glera for Prosecco and Pinot Grigio. But there is a Moscato that is on the south part of the Veneto. Very different from Asti. So let me get another glass.
Enore, we haven't talked about different glasses, by the way. I think that's kind of something fun to talk about. So how do you like to drink your Proseccos? What's your favorite glassware?
So my favorite glass is something like this. It's a white wine glass. You know, it's not a flute. The flute maybe is good for the other sparkling wine, but not for Prosecco. Prosecco, you know, it's an effervescent kid. You know, it loves to talk, and so it needs a very big mouth in the glass.
Typical Italian.
So it needs to be something that you can really smell it. Yeah.
So you wouldn't recommend.
It's not.
You wouldn't recommend
I
a
wouldn't
tall
recommend
champagne flute then?
Or a glass with a small mouth. No, I wouldn't do that because you know the beauty about Prosecco it's its aroma. You know, the smell, the fruitiness, and the light bubbles, and that's what you enjoy when you have a large glass.
It's true. You can smell everything.
So, what glass do you have, Jimmy, today?
So yeah,
What glass are you using today, Jimmy?
I'm using a large white wine glass, and I absolutely agree with you.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting as well. So that really distinguishes us from
So
champagne.
then, you know, something like this, specifically for Prosecco, something like yours will do great. So back to the Moscato. Again, very different from Asti. This is more fruit. It's fruitier, but not sweeter. No. Beautiful aroma of peaches and apricots. You know, and even beautiful balance. The bubble, very soft, very persistent. It's great because again, it's very balanced with the acidity and the sugar. So it's not sweet at all, but it's very fruity. So great dessert wine, but good for food, in spicy food. Great. Summertime.
Hey, we
summer
need
wine.
to hang on a second. We're losing Enore a little bit. The connection is not so strong.
Okay, I'll jump in here then.
Oh, I'm sorry.
you.
Can you hear me?
Okay, thank you, Jimmy. So tell me, Jimmy, about the Moscato. It's called the Il, but what does Il mean in Italian?
It means the.
Right, so this is the Prosecco, the Moscato for the Il line. This is a special item.
Exactly. So if we're going to have a little lesson in Italian, we're going to learn two words tonight. So il means the. So this is the Moscato. And the other great word to know in Italian is ciao, because you're actually learning two words there, because it works for hello. Yeah, you get 2 for 1 there. It's a hello and it's also a goodbye. So you're right in there. So that's going to be our little Italian lesson for the evening. But I think another one's a good one to know is salute, which means cheers.
Salute, everybody.
Yeah. So hopefully we're, I can't see everybody, but hopefully there are people drinking and we're having some
I'm with you. Cheers, everybody.
We're having some face wine together. But I think there's another thing we haven't talked about, which I think is important, that a big difference between Prosecco and Champagne.
Yes, please tell me.
Basically, for Prosecco, to make it really clear, the fresher it is, the better it tastes. So you really should be, my advice to you is, buy Prosecco and drink it. Don't hold on to it for a rainy day. Drink it straight away. Because basically the fresher it is, the better it's going to taste. So unlike champagnes can age and they will change in flavor, and a lot of champagnes will improve. But basically for Prosecco, a great Prosecco is you should just drink it, as quickly as you can. So
And
don't wait.
especially the freshness for Mionetto, because we bottle on demand. So our product is fresh as it can be to the customer, right?
Exactly. So that's something that we're really, really proud of. And we love to talk about that fact that we don't just bottle every month and leave the product there. And when the orders come in, we send it out. We actually we bottle to order, meaning when we get, a request, when the US team sends a request over to Italy, they then bottle and send it over to us. So we know and we can guarantee that all of our Prosecco are basically very, very fresh. So what I always love to say is, don't save a Prosecco for a special occasion. Drink it on a Monday night. That's special enough. So, we're very democratic. We are all encompassing, and we don't need to wait for a special occasion to open a bottle of Mionetto.
Right. I had a question come in about the rosé, because there's some chatter in the news that it's going to change names from regular sparkling rosé, Italian sparkling rosé, to rosé Prosecco. Is that true?
Enore, are you back online? Do you want to answer this?
Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes. Keep talking.
Can you hear me, Rachel?
Yes, I can hear you.
The rumor is true. Yeah. The rumor is true. With the new harvest, we will be able to produce Prosecco Rosé. So finally, the consortium has approved it, and probably early 2021 in the market you'll see a Prosecco Rosé. The difference will be quite big, because to be called Prosecco Rosé, it needs to have this almost the same blend of Prosecco. So 85% needs to be Glera, and then 50% can be Pinot Noir to give it the pink color. So very exciting about it, because right now there are many people that are calling their Italian rosé Prosecco Rosé, but they're not Prosecco Rosé. So it's not a good way to do that. We believe it's a great thing for the consumer, because finally they can taste a very good quality rosé, and we will be right there. We are ready to roll as soon as we can, and introducing in the marketplace.
Great. I have a few more questions. I was wondering, is Prosecco only supposed to be enjoyed at the beginning of the meal? When would you choose to have these items?
I mean, I would say, I think, Enore.
We have breakfast with Prosecco, right?
Exactly. I think it goes great. It goes great with cornflakes.
With Prosecco, don't we? Exactly.
Yeah, we start early.
Yeah, we start early. But besides jokes, in all honesty, when I lived in Italy, Prosecco was my 9 a.m. by 11 a.m. pickup. You get an espresso, or you drink a glass of Prosecco at 10, 11 a.m. But in the afternoon, for lunch, for brunch, before you start dinner, during your dinner, Prosecco, it's perfect. Or after dinner, it's a great wine, because it's a great aperitif, but it goes very well with food, and it's something that's very unique, that you can enjoy throughout, your meal, or even before your meal.
Right.
Or you can do cocktails. Mimosa with Prosecco is the best. Orange juice and Prosecco.
Not fancy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's great on its own. It goes great as an aperitivo, pairs wonderfully throughout the meal. I think some of these, for our Doc Treviso, this makes a phenomenal Aperol Spritz, as we know. The organic I think we love this. Makes some fantastic cocktails. You pop a little bit of gin in with that, and a bit of elderflower, and create what we call the Italian 75, which is a take on the French 75, but it's much more stylish because it's Italian. But I highly recommend you try that. The elderflower that we get from the organic really comes through. So I think to answer that, it can be enjoyed in cocktails by itself, and throughout the meal and throughout the day.
And then to review the small bottles, what's available? We have the Prestige 187s. We have the little rosé, which I don't have with me. Jimmy, can you hold yours up? And then I believe we have the Mionetto Dolce, which is another kind of Moscato in a small bottle as well. But we didn't talk about pairings with the Moscato. I like to have vanilla ice cream and this on top. Have you tried that?
Oh yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah, I think these mini bottles are fantastic. You know, I use them all the time for picnics, for tailgating, for camping, just being out and about, you know, as well as a 6-pack of beer. You know, a bunch of these always goes down really, really well. You know, it's the perfect size. It's actually one of the nicest ways to drink Prosecco because it's super fresh, it's super fizzy. So yeah, and you know, I'm a big fan of the mini bottles.
That's great. I have one final question for Enore. How do you see the future of Prosecco in the U.S. market? You see more and more people enjoying this product.
Prosecco in U.S. market is bright. Yes. It's sparkling. It's bright and sparkling. You know, I will say this. You know, even at this time where you know we're going through difficult time, Prosecco does really well because it's an everyday pleasure. It's an everyday pleasure that everybody can have without feel guilty or just because they want to feel better. So you have a long day. You want to come home and have your own little celebration, your own pick me up, your own little toast with your wife or with your relatives or with your significant other. Prosecco is perfect. So in my opinion, the future of Prosecco in US it's just bright. So I'm very excited to say that because it is a beautiful wine and people loves it. So
it's also the fastest growing sparkling in the category right now as well, right?
Absolutely. It is the best selling sparkling wine category in the United States right now. So it's quite amazing.
Right. Well, if there are no further questions, I wanted to thank HEB for having us and my two special guests, Enore and Jimmy. Thank you for taking the time. And I appreciate it. We learned a lot. Thank you.
No, it was a real pleasure
Thank you, HEB,
see.
for the opportunity.
Grazie a tutti. Grazie a HEB. We can say ciao and thank you very much.
And pretty soon everyone can go to Mionetto to visit when we can travel again. I can't wait.
Thank you, guys.
Cheers. Salute.
Enjoy the weekend.